Hello and welcome to Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Steven Universe, Diamond Days, Change Your Mind, Battle of Heart and Mind, all the subtitles, which we will be getting into right now. I'm Justin Cummings, and today I'm joined by Andy Potter.
Hello.
And Beatriz Mourad.
Hello.
Today we are here to take your feedback on the hour-long Season 5 finale of Steven Universe, Change Your Mind. Now, usually, with our feedback podcast, we open up by having everyone who wasn't on the recap kind of give their general opinions, but we have a lot of feedback.
Yeah, it's a big episode.
We will get into everyone's opinion kind of as it comes up in the feedback.
Okay.
If you missed that, I will give you guys plenty of time, just we have a lot to get through. If you missed our recap, you can find it at overlyanimated.com or search Overly Animated on iTunes, your favorite podcatcher, or YouTube. So let's dive immediately in. And we are going to talk about the episode itself first, kind of what happened in it, and then we're going to get into the feedback that deals with the future, kind of where we're going. So actually, you know what? Let's do a quick recap or a quick opinions, just to kind of get us going. So, Andy, I was on the recap, so Andy, let's get started with you. What did you think overall of this episode?
I really loved it. I really loved all the... I don't know what more there is to say, Justin. I just really loved these episodes. They were exciting. They were fun. I really loved all the new fusions, which I think is obvious. And I really loved this surprising... not surprising, because it's Steven Universe, but I really loved the way they brought together the trans themes at the end with, at the end of the episode. I really liked that. And I really, really liked the redux of We Are the Crystal Gems along with the Change Your Mind song. Like, yes. I don't know how much more there is to say other than just pointing at the things I really liked in this episode, because there's just a lot of stuff to love here. The only thing I can really say is maybe a complaint, is that this really feels like a series finale, and we still have more.
We're gonna get into that.
And that's not really a complaint, more than just like a comment on, like, it feels like we don't need more Steven Universe, even though I'll gladly take more.
Yes. Beatrice, thoughts?
Well, I will plug in my reaction video to Change Your Mind, so that those were my initial, very cold cut thoughts and impressions and thoughts on it. But I think this is one of the greatest pieces of TV animation, and a culmination of this entire show. And yes, it feels like a series finale, so I have no idea what's going to happen next. And I just, it's beautiful. I don't want to call it like the greatest trans and most beautiful trans story ever, because it has the theme in it, but I can't go out and completely say it is that, but it's so much. It's so beautiful, everything about it, and it's just, I still can't believe it happened.
Yeah,
it was so stunning. The caliber and everything, it's just, this is one of those shows, like, Steven Universe was always going to be an amazing show, and it was always going to go down in history as, like, this, in animation history, but now it's, like, it's kind of transcended what it already established of itself in terms of just, like, being this critically acclaimed thing. Like, now it's, like, it's on another level now.
It is.
Whereas before, like, it was already there. But then they were just like, yeah, but why don't we outdo ourselves and actually make this one of the greatest moments of television, the greatest things of television and just art and anything in general. And that's what this is. And it's just luminous to experience it.
So let's dive right in, and like I said, I kind of want to start with talking about the episode itself and then move into theorizing kind of where we go from here, because that's going to be a majority of this feedback, because that is the big question. And several people commented with some really interesting unresolved threads that we can get into, whether or not we think we're ever going to get resolution on those. But from our YouTube page, Chicago critic Gerald left a comment. That scene with what White Diamond did to Blue and Yellow was frightening. This moment, to me, was when the entire episode shifted. I don't know about you guys, but the entire tone of the episode changed with this moment. Andy, what was your initial reaction seeing them get, like, whatever we want to call that, brainwashed, puppetized, seeing yellow and blue just completely taken over by White Diamond. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, I thought it was terrifying. Like, just the way it worked. Like, the idea of subsuming people like that is really scary. But I was kind of prepped for this because I knew going into this that, like, there's no way that the Crystal Gems could have both blue and yellow diamond on their side and White Diamond would be, like, not a pushover. Like, I kind of was expecting something like this, not necessarily this specifically and this scary, but I was expecting something like this so that the odds wouldn't be completely in the good guy's favor. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I wasn't as shocked from it just because, like, I was reading ahead, like, I was, looking into narratively how this is going to work, and that kind of messed up the moment, but it was still really scary. Like, just this idea of, like, destroying people's, like, entire identity and controlling them like that. It's really scary. It's
so interesting because as a fan of horror, a lot of people think that horror media has to be blood and gore, where a lot of times the media that I find the most terrifying has not a drop of blood, and I think this definitely counts, because this is intense on a whole different level. Like, the idea of having your entire being just, not just brainwashed, but then seeing, like, White's influence just spread out from the gem like a virus was just, it was creepy. Beatrice, thoughts?
I mean, I always knew White Diamond was terrifying.
Yes.
Always. I knew, and the way that, I guess, should we call her Pink Pearl?
Yes.
Now?
Pink Pearl.
Okay, so Pink Pearl, the way that she was always acting under that control, like, was always terrifying to me as well. Like, there was just something about the way her eyes were drawn, the way she kind of spoke and smiled, and just her mannerisms. It was just all terrifying. So when I saw it with them, I thought, oh, I was just, it was not pleasant, because it's never pleasant to see someone's agency just completely being violently removed. So it was terrifying. Yes, I agree.
In some ways, Justin, it's actually reminded me a lot of, the name escapes me, but the character from Samurai Jack in the new season.
Yes.
At the end, when Aku took away her agency, it kind of reminded me of that, but Ashi, thank you. But this was a lot scarier just because of the way it was animated. It was, the way they went black and white was very scary.
And it also shows that you don't need to be violent or gory to be terrifying.
Yeah,
and it kind of really shows I don't know what White Diamond can do. Like, she can still do this. She's still capable of doing these things. So it's like, what are we going to do with this being that has this power of completely controlling? I don't know, like, I don't know where White Diamond stands after this. And, like, the stuff that she did, and it's just, to me, it's so egregious, the things that she did. I don't know where this is all gonna fall, or where she's gonna be as we continue the story.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a weird place as to how that's kind of people's biggest complaint so far is, are we just forgiving White Diamond? And I don't think that's what this show is doing. But until we get more, we don't really know. Let's jump on over to our website, where Tatiana Roch left a long comment. I won't read the whole thing. I encourage everyone to go read it. It's like it's a book. It's fantastic. But to kind of summarize, they love that this finale makes pacifism an actual option. They don't quote it here, but Steven's line about, I don't want to run away, I don't want to fight, I just want to talk. Like, that was such a good line. And then, being able to talk it out peacefully. And then they also get into the past relationship of the diamonds, like Blue said in Familiar, all the diamonds used to hang out in the pool area. So, what was White like before Pink left? What was White like back then? And so, and then also, they kind of get into the next season, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, so, overall, what do you guys think about kind of the route this show took? A lot of people compare it to Aang and the Fire Lord. And then what do you guys think about the relationship of the diamonds? Let's start with Beatrice this time.
I mean, I think because we are so accustomed to the non-pacifist way of being told a story and having a story end, that maybe some of the trepidation we have with like the ending kind of comes from that, of being not used to having this kind of pacifist kind of telling of something, of just talking. So I feel like it's a radical thing. It's a beautiful thing. But yeah.
Yeah. Andy.
I think the biggest thing here is that it's kind of wrong to compare this to the Fire Lord and Aang. Okay. Because this is just narratively doing something different. This character, White Diamond, is very similar to Ozai. She's a dictator. She's malicious in a lot of different ways. But the thing is, we're not watching that show. Even though she is a dictator, the show really wants us to see this through a different lens. And even if it is, I think, somewhat problematic to just forgive a dictator and like let them, like, this kind of thing happen, the fact that we're seeing through a different lens makes it okay, because we're not seeing that story. We're seeing a story where we watch a child explain to their parent, I'm different now, and I want you to understand that. And that's the story they're telling. And I think it's kind of disingenuous to compare it to Fire Lord Ozai, because it's a completely different story. And this resolution fits the story they were trying to tell, and it works beautifully.
And also not just that, but that was the ending of Avatar. Yes. Mm-hmm. This isn't the ending. So, like, I think it's also important to keep in mind, like, even though we keep saying that, it feels like an ending, because that's how we've been taught. We've been, like, grown up feeding these stories where this is where it ends. It ends with this. So, I think it's something also worth noting that with Ozai, that was it. With White Diamond, we're still going to see, I feel like we're still going to continue and explore the repercussions of what she's done. And yeah.
And also, Avatar is a much more narrative-based show. Like, that show was like, that's the culmination of everything. This is the culmination of everything, but it's more in an emotional way than a narrative, strictly narrative way, unlike Avatar.
I agree, absolutely. This is a very different episode. I had a discussion with someone about this last week in a debate tournament, because I mentioned Steven Universe, and they're like, oh, don't get me started. Like, I thought the finale was awful. Didn't narratively resolve anything. And I'm like, well, the show isn't narrative. This show, I mean, it has a narrative, but this show has always been more about emotional themes than its physical themes. It's always been more a thematic show. And some people are just not going to like that way of storytelling. And I completely understand that this show has its plot holes, and this show has its pacing issues, and this show has problematic things like forgiving a dictator. But, like, it's not about that. It's about the thematic symbolism of the show. And if you can take it at that, I think it's an amazing story. And I see people's problems with it, but I still think it's absolutely brilliant storytelling. And we're going to get into another problematic element. Nina asked on the website, what are your thoughts on Pink/Rose now that we've gotten more perspective? While this obviously doesn't excuse her reckless and harmful actions, I'm much more sympathetic now that this episode has highlighted how suffocating and toxic her situation was. Andy, do you want to kick us off for this?
I think Rose is still an enigma to me, emotionally. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about her still, because I think her decisions and her choices for leaving the Diamonds are very, very, very different from the things we see Steven do in the present. Correct. And we only see snapshots and, like, vignettes of what Rose does. And so I'm not really here to say whether she did the right thing or the wrong thing, because we just see so little of it. Steven's a different person, and he's doing the right thing, and I think that's all that really matters here, and that's what the finale's saying. Like, Rose made choices, and clearly she's on the right side of history here, but I don't know if she's doing the right thing. I don't think we're in a place to say that.
Yeah. I mean, we could.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we could kind of look at this like Rose was the kind of non-pacifist response to White Diamond.
Right.
Yeah. She starts the war, she starts the rebellion, and all that, and she has, whether or not she was morally right to come from this place of being taking part in the dictatorship to now leading the rebellion, like, all that aside, we can kind of. You're right. It's weird. I don't think any of the wrongdoing that Rose does is canceled out by understanding where she comes from. I mean, she still makes those choices on her own.
Right.
Yeah.
She still she still is the one doing them. So if someone had a problem with Rose before this, after this, I don't think their opinion should change. Now they know where she comes from. It's like she still made those choices. Like, it's kind of like, oh, well, but I'm a victim too. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't excuse you from doing problematic things. However, if we look more in a thematic kind of element, like Rose is what we would expect from like, okay, this is a dictator, now we're going to bring him down. And Steven kind of is the one that represents the more pacifist kind of take. So it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition of how showing like how things have turned out between, like, comparing Rose's reaction to the diamonds and Steven's reaction to the diamonds and which one actually works. It's an interesting sort of juxtaposition to explore. It's
definitely interesting. It's more than we have time to get into here, I think, and it really does kind of get into, are bad actions excused by bad actions done to this person?
And are bad actions excused just because you have to be doing bad actions towards a goal that happens to be good, maybe by accident?
Right. And and then it's like there are those things, like, for instance, let's talk about Pink Pearl. Like, how much is she in control when she was under White Diamond? Well, it's like, she didn't have agency. So how much is she, like...
Her actions I'm willing to excuse because she was a meat puppet. Like,
No, but...
Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing with Pink Pearl is do we ever see how Pink Pearl ended up with White Diamond? Do we see that explicitly?
No, because it's implied.
I think it's implied that Rose just leaves her, isn't it? Like, Rose leaves Pink Pearl behind.
No, it seemed to me at the beginning of Change Your Mind, we have that scene where where Yellow's talking to her and Blue's talking to Steven and says, White will take your pearl away.
Oh, right.
I forgot that. Yeah.
Pink Diamond did some more shenanigans and White, like, Pink Pearl tried to, like, defend her or something. And White just snapped at Pink Pearl and took her and gave her that crack and bad stuff happened.
Or maybe in the shenanigans with Pink Diamond, Pearl gets the crack, and then, with White Diamond, she's all about, perfection. So she sees that, and then she, takes her.
Having said all this, I think this is another reason why it's hard to judge Rose, because we don't have the order of events here.
Yeah.
Like, we can't, it's hard to tell if Rose's reactions are justified, like her anger or her frustration, because we don't know which events came before that frustration. I think that also makes it hard to judge her sometimes.
Yeah.
So, I think if we were to talk more about this episode itself, at this point, the recap had a lot. I think at this point, we'll just keep saying it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, the fusions were great. It was amazing. I want to get into what's coming next, because I think this is the more interesting part of it, and now that people have had time to, I don't want to say calm down, because I'm still hype, but to actually, sit down and be like, okay, what is left to talk about? There's some really interesting stuff, and I kind of want to get you two's opinion on where you think we're going, what plot threads do we think are going to be left dangling, and what do we think we're actually going to deal with. So, first off, and a lot of people mentioned these, so it's going to be hard to kind of cite specific people. So first off, what's in the box? What's in the box?
I was thinking we were going for non-narrative stuff first, but yeah, the box is important.
What's in the box? I love 7, I'm sorry. But yeah, the chest inside the Lion Lars sub-dimension, as Kenneth Brooks called it on YouTube, the Lion Lars sub-dimension. It's the only thing left in there that we haven't talked about yet. We dealt with Bismuth. We dealt with everything else that's in there. What's in the chest? First off, do you think it will be opened? Or first off, what do you think is in it? And do you think we'll actually deal with it? Beatrice, go.
Yes. I haven't yet to see them not. I mean, someone made a connection between the cookie cat sandwich and Steven.
I remember this.
So there is no way they're going to show us a chest locked, and we're not going to at one point open it. Well, there's no way.
And Steven tried to open it when he got the big key for, the fortress. He tried to open the chest. So the show has acknowledged it.
So it's going to happen. What's in it, though?
What's in the box?
Okay. One thing we can do to make it further complicate things would be our way, and maybe it'll reveal something darker, more sinister about Pink Diamond, or like Rose, rather, like, not that it's like that she's evil, but more like maybe some of her actions were much more selfish in nature. Maybe we can go much more in that darker route, or we can go into or it could just simply be like, this is how we're going to get her side of the story, like her memories, her whatever. This is how we're gonna this is what's gonna allow us to see what it is, whatever mystery, whatever enigma the Rose is. Maybe this is the code to crack it. Yeah.
I kind of like that idea, Beatrice, with the memories, because maybe it was that, like, Rose didn't want Steven to see the memories until he was completely, like, sure of his own self. You know what I mean? Like if he sees these memories before he had this revelation at the end of Change Your Mind, like, it would just throw him into more disarray, I think.
Yeah. So I could easily see her, like, hold off until he's completely, like, sure of himself and his identity before she reveals all this to him. But then the question is, what could that possibly be? What could possibly be, like, but what could it possibly say that could throw old Steven in such disarray?
I don't, it could just be memories, like, just, it could just be hard to parse through Pink's memories when he's still not sure if he's Pink or not. Like, but I think the biggest thing here is that I think the chest is clearly the hook for the movie. Like, I think this is just the hook for the movie.
Yeah.
I could see it being the movie. That was my next question. Is it movie or season 6?
It's definitely the movie, because this is just too obvious to not be. Like, I think the season is clearly going to be more like slice of life, towny type stuff, but with more gems. But the movie just has this perfect setup with this chest, and, like, whether there's a gem in there or memories or something to do with the villain of that movie, I think that's where it's going to happen.
So we definitely think it is going to be opened. Beatrice, do you agree it'll probably be in the movie?
I mean, I could see it both ways. Like, I could see it being like a season-long thing. I could see it being for the movie. I'd like it to be for the movie, because if the movie is, like, somewhat like of an epilogue of, like, okay, well, then what do we do now? Like, this is kind of the last thread of this show so far. So if the movie ties it up, then for the next season, we can just start fresh with these characters, and now we go into a brand new adventure. But I could also see it drag into the next season. And also the next season, it could be like slice of life with more gems. Or it could be them trying to figure out, like, well, what now? Because I don't think the movie has enough time for them to solve the question of, what do we do now with White Diamond and all this stuff? Like, what do we do? So, like, I don't know. I could see maybe the movie could be about them going to one of the other planets that the gems conquered or something, you know? It could be anything.
It could be that, like, the villain of the movie is, like, a governor of one of the planets or something.
Yeah.
Like, and they're completely against the idea of the dictatorship ending or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. So
yeah, they have a lot of range here.
Exactly. Like, I would love it to be the chest for the movie and make it about Rose, but at the same time, like, would it be too much? Like, would it be, like, after we just got this thing of, like, okay, it's done, like, maybe we should breathe a little bit from the whole Rose past thing and leave that for the show and have the movie be its own kind of standalone thing? Or would it be better to just keep the scene going and just...
It just, the thing is, I agree with that, Beatrice, but it's just such a good way to have an inciting incident. It's just such an easy way.
There's another hanging plot thread that I forgot about, and I'm curious to see if either of you remember it, because it could be the movie or it could happen in, like, one episode next season. And that is the Geode.
Oh, yes, which we haven't seen for a long time.
We have not. Heth Marie on YouTube reminded me of this. Beatrice, do you remember the Geode?
Geodude from Pokemon? No, I don't know. Wait.
So, wait, no. Beatrice, do you know what a Geode is, like, in real life?
Like, I'm assuming it's some form of rock?
Not all of us work with rocks, Andy.
Oh my god. But a Geode is... Okay, Beatrice, you know those rocks that are, like, hollow with gems on the inside?
Yes.
But they're, like normal rocks on the outside? Yes. That's a Geode. That's a Geode. It just
so you're telling me Geodude from the inside has, like, gems inside? Okay.
Probably.
I'm done.
Probably.
So, the Geode is to quote the Stephen Wiki, a giant black dome-shaped rock containing a synthetic storm inside. It lies at the bottom of an enormous crater, has a crack currently being held together with duct tape.
Yep.
We have not seen it since season 1. However, duct tape is not that great.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
But
not that great.
what if, and the Wikipedia, or the wiki page actually says it is currently unknown whether it is a corrupted gem or an ancient gem weapon. What if our antagonist is inside the Geode?
That's another idea.
We could mix two ideas. We could have the chest storyline and the enemy, like the villain of the thing being the Geode.
Geode. You got it.
Oh my god, Beatriz. It's Geode, yes. But the Geode could just be like a giant rock egg.
I forgot this existed. Some people were saying, I can't remember where I saw this, but someone was saying it might be a prototype of the cluster?
That's what I would always assumed it was. Like, this, just sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go for it.
I just want to make sure, just to be clear, this is the thing from the episode where, Steven's dad convinced him, that Steven's dad had, the broken leg or whatever.
Yes.
Yes, and Steven couldn't fix the Geode because he just didn't believe in himself, essentially.
Yeah,
that's what
and
happened.
That basically had gotten rid of his healing powers for quite a while, so way to go, Greg. The one bad thing you've really done in the show.
Yes.
There's a picture for you two to see in the chat of our call so that you know we're talking about the same item.
Yes.
That thing.
Well, Steven's OP now, so he could fix it now.
Well, he could,
Steven's OP.
But is he going to fix it before it breaks? Is he going to remember to go do it before the thing happens?
I'm going to guess no. I don't think Steven thinks this thing is alive in any real way, so I don't think he realizes that there might be something in there to save.
Again, just look at the cluster. We thought it was built up as this big bad, and then suddenly it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so, this could easily be something that could be expanded upon in a movie. We wanted a villain for the movie, or it could also, if they want to go really deep with climate change themes and stuff, that could totally be a thing. Or we could also have it solved in an episode of this next season. All I'm saying is it could be anything.
I think the big revelation for this Geode is definitely going to be that the reason Steven couldn't heal it is because the crack is it's opening up. It's not something not something to heal.
Rebecca Sugar herself did say in the Q&A that had Steven's healing powers been working, he could have fixed it.
Oh, he could have? Okay.
Yes.
Word of God.
Now let's fix it then. Has it maybe expanded beyond his ability now? We'll see.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So let's jump over to the Discord. Needle talked in the Discord, and this is an interesting theory about the episode Familiar. There's a drawing of yellow, white, and blue with a pink comet in the background. Then a drawing of the 4 diamonds. White calls Pink Starlight, and Pink chose a star as her new symbol when she was Rose. Pink was made out of comet stuff by White.
Ooh.
Is
this a believable theory? What do you guys think?
It's fun. I don't, it's fun. I just don't know. I don't have more to say than that. I like that idea.
It could be an idea, or it could be kind of like the diamonds version of the storks.
Right.
It could just be
what the stork?
Pink being how did I come to be? And then White not having an answer, so just being you were a comet, and now I call you Starlight. That could be a thing. Or, it could not. It could actually be something. But I don't know if we're going, with the show, I don't know if we're going to actually dive into kind of theology and trying to explain where the diamonds came from.
Well, here's the question, and this actually stems off of this. I've seen multiple people, Needle included, saying, is the heart gem that we keep seeing in this movie trailer, was that an attempt to create a new pink diamond? Did White say go back to that comet and try again? A lot of people already think that our villain of this new movie is going to be Red Diamond. There's a lot of theories about that. So do you think this is a possible way that we could get White trying to create another replacement Pink? This would have been made a while ago, that's just now coming to light, but...
I'm not sure. I think that's a good theory. This show is just so hard to predict. I find it really hard to hedge my bets on something. Just because that's my hesitations from, not that these ideas aren't cool or good. It's hard to hedge your bets with Steven Universe.
It could. I could also see it. I could also see this type of this version of the movie, which would be interesting. And also it deals again with the themes of a corrupt gem and them, synthetic gems and all that. So it could fall into place there. that could work. I had a very scary thought where I was like, oh God, what if she falls for Pearl or Pearl falls for her or something? That could be a thing. I don't know. We'll see. Oh my God, that would be a trip. What if she falls for Pearl, but Pearl's like not having it? And it's like, whoa, like throwing my head, like you look like pink, but you're not pink, you're red. What's going on? I don't know.
I think that's a good idea for a movie, actually. Now that we're talking about it, I think that's a great idea for a movie, like bring in like a fake pink diamond into the mix.
I mean, it's such an anime thing of like, oh, you thought there were only 4 diamonds? Here's the 5th diamond, and we'll never mention it again.
That's also like a comic book thing. Like you can do like, like what's his name? Superman's, the other Superman, like the version of him that's
Zod, Bizarro.
No, not Bizarro. That's who I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when you say the other version of Superman,
there's a
lot. There's a lot. But Bizarro. That's who I thought.
There was literally just a movie called Reign of Superman that came out that had 4.
I love that storyline though so much. Like that's one of my favorite That's not the point of this podcast.
I'm not making fun of the movie. I'm just saying there's just a lot of versions of Superman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Superman.
But that's what I mean. It's like it's not just an anime. It's like in everything. There is like it doesn't like telenovelas, like the evil twin brother who suddenly shows up. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, surprise, here I am. So I could see it happen. But that would be its own thing. So, I don't know if we'd have time for the chest if we have a red diamond.
Let's move past the movie. We agree that the movie's gonna be dope. Let's move into season 6 that we are like 95% sure we're getting. Let's talk about what might happen then. Are we finally gonna get closure between Lapis and Bismuth? Because, as far as we know, Bismuth is the one that poofed Lapis. Are we ever going to resolve this? Is it a different Bismuth? Are we ever going to talk about that?
I mean, I think it's already resolved if Lapis came with Bismuth.
But does Lapis know that it's the same Bismuth? We all assume it is. First off, is it the same Bismuth? And second of all, does Lapis know?
Again, I think this is the reason why it's hard to predict season 6, because, like, I think predicting specific events is hard. I think it's more important to focus on thematic things they could focus on. And
that's a cop-out answer.
Well, no. But I think it's true, though. It's a cop-out. I'm copping out, Justin, because this show is so hard to predict. Like, I would predict...
Oh, I'm great at predicting this show.
Okay, Justin, sure, Justin. You are the best at predicting Steve.
Go check out that great article I wrote predicting Christina Eversole would be White Diamond 6 months before it happened.
Yeah. That's not predicting the show, though. That's predicting, like, actors.
Go check out the podcast where I predicted Centipede would come back way before Centipede came.
That's the podcast where I predicted the exact way that Pearl and Rose would go down. I predicted the exact...
I don't remember this happening, Andy.
Okay, I will find this on the Discord, because I remember, what was it? Pale Rose happened, and Dylan's like, holy crap.
Andy, we're the same person, so whatever you predicted is actually a win for me.
It's going too deep. This is going too deep, Justin. The point I'm trying to make is that
Dylan's not here to make fun of you. I have to do it.
I know. God. The point is that we could easily delve into this. I think this is something we could do. This is a situation that can cover one episode. Like, we can have one episode about Lapis finding out about Bismuth. Mm-hmm. But I'm more interested in the multiple episode arcs we could delve into. Like, I'm more interested in the fact that we could have a multiple episode long arc dealing with Lapis, Peridot, and Jasper. Like, that's prime material for a multiple.
Yeah.
And I think the Bismuth Lapis stuff is kind of just, it's a cool episode that I think they have room to do, but I don't think it's more than a single episode. That's more what I'm getting at.
Let's get into these arc kind of ideas. And the biggest one people seem focused on is these, the formerly corrupted gems. I'm gonna butcher names, I'm so sorry, but Raffaella Carrillo on the website says the healed gems on Earth are different from others. We saw this. They still maintain a little bit of their corruption, like Jasper has those different horns, and might face some prejudice once they get in contact with the perfect ones. How do you feel about that? How we introduce the formerly corrupted gems into society, the fact that they still have physical scars of what happened to them, like, cause you talk thematic, that is prime, let's deal with trauma, like, you want to talk thematic arcs, I think that's the biggest one. Beatrice, how do you think we're going to deal with the formerly corrupted gems?
Well, the question is, are they going to go back to Homeworld? Mm-hmm. Or are they going to stay on Earth? Because if they stay on Earth, I don't think there'd be a problem. They'll just be on Earth and it's fine. They're just chilling. But if some of them want to go to Homeworld, then yeah, I think that's something that they have to explore. I think it's going to be interesting how, again, and I don't know where in terms of like hierarchy the diamonds are going to be, but if the diamonds are okay with them, but then they've created this society and this systematic form of discrimination against imperfection. So they maybe have to be in charge of cleaning up their own mess and have to re-educate everybody. And that is prime for drama. But the only thing is, will these gems want to go back with the diamonds? And what will be the state of Homeworld? And I feel like we don't know, or we can't understand or theorize what's going to happen to these gems until we understand what the new kind of government is going to be in Homeworld. Like, I don't know. I don't know what Homeworld is going to be at the moment. And I am still kind of shocked that the White Diamond and all the diamonds just kind of left Homeworld. I'm just like, who's running Homeworld right now? Like, what's happening?
A couple agates.
Maybe, I mean, did the Pearls just say, like, are the Pearls in charge for the moment? Like, will they become power hungry and suddenly they're like, no, now we are the powerful? I don't know.
Speaking of, sorry, Andy, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, I was just laughing at Beatrice's crackpot theories.
Speaking of agates, are we going to see our good old dear friend Holly Blue anytime soon, which gets into two potential arcs, the Zoomins? Because I think what would be really cool is if we deal with two parallel ideas. The Zoo humans being reintroduced to Earth Society as the formerly corrupted gems are reintroduced to Homeworld Society. I think that would make for two really interesting parallels. And then also, are we going to deal with the Famethysts? Andy, start us off.
I am excited to see the Famethyst. Like, I am excited to see them come. Yeah, like, I think that I'm glad to bring up the Famethyst. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together because I'm trying to word this correctly, because I think that the whole arc of season 6 will be about dealing with these people in the, or gems in the Empire that are trying to figure out how to live now that the status quo has shifted so drastically. And I think we're gonna see how it shifts exactly next season, because it's unclear how much White has changed now.
Do you think they'll Do you think they'll focus on, like, our military gems we've seen, like Emerald, Holly Blue, Aquamarine?
I think so. I think it'll be focusing on the people who are in power and the people who weren't. And it'll be about that divide. It'll be about the amethysts that were at the zoo dealing with Holly Blue and being like, hey, we're in control now. Like, we're not in control, but we're our own person. And I think there might be, so it might even be that though. It might be the amethyst taking control over the Holly Blue and Steven coming in and being like, it's not okay for you guys to turn around and do this to them now. Like, that's not okay. Like, I'm expecting that kind of plot. Maybe with the amethyst, honestly. That's a good one to go with. Speaking
of which, the bubbled rose quartzes.
Oh, yes.
Are we gonna deal with that? Because are they coming home to Earth? Are they going to Homeworld? Is Steven just gonna be surrounded by copies of his mom everywhere he looks? Because that's whew.
That could be movie, honestly.
Honestly, that would be Pearl's pipe dream. Just roses everywhere.
But I feel like Pearl has grown so much from that, and I think she's really starting to move past Rose. So that's why, like, the theory of, like, a red diamond that was, like, that maybe looks somewhat like Rose is so interesting to me, because it's like, well, what do you do? What would Pearl do? Because she's moving on. She's in the process, and suddenly here's this person who's like, I am, like, everything you wanted. Like, and I don't know, like, was she excited, was she not? Like, so that's why I'm just like, I don't know if it would be her, I don't know if it's her dream anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
I see that. I think Pearl's reaction would be interesting, whether it is either like, Steven, go wait in the car, I'm just gonna hang out here for like 5 more minutes. Like, go wait in the car, Steven. Or the opposite of, I need to leave. Good luck, my diamonds. I mean, Rose, goodbye. Like, either way, Pearl's reaction will be amazing. Because it's Pearl, and her reactions are priceless. Beatrice, what are your thoughts on kind of where we're going with the whole, the formerly corrupted gems, and then the Zoomins? What do you think we're doing with them?
Well, with the formerly corrupted gems, I already said that maybe if they stay on Earth, they'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But with the Zoomins, that's gonna be a trip. Like, I feel like this could easily go down the route of, like, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. of just like them like being like surprised. Like we are giving you this new world. This is Earth. Here are other humans, and they might. I don't know. It could go real dark. Like they might like completely lose it, or they might not. They might want to. It'd be really sad if they'd want to stay in the zoo, you know? So, but I mean, they have to.
Would it?
I mean, they might want to, like, you know, they might be like, no, we like our contained, controlled environment. This is new and different, and they might take them a while to adapt. So,
have you ever heard of Plato's cave allegory?
I'm just saying that maybe, like, Steven's he's gonna have to be a little bit more delicate with them. Especially, you know, they're not gems, they're humans. Mm-hmm. Like, their minds are a little bit more, like, especially for us, like, as the audience, we know what a human is. We can, like, see a gem, and we can accept that they may not have a mental breakdown where a human would have a mental breakdown.
Right.
But with a human, we aren't as forgiving. So they do have to kind of treat that with caution. They have to treat it with it's not subtlety, softness. They have to be, I don't know, it'll be interesting. I don't doubt that they can't do it. I know that they can do it. This is one of those where it's like, ooh, it's kind of like the dictator thing. Like, you need to finesse this in a way that this could be finessed in a way that could easily go bad. So we'll see how it goes.
It's very, very very similar to Plato's cave allegory, and I'm not going to get into all that here because my girlfriend's in the other room, and she hears me mention Plato's cave allegory one more time, she will break the door down. But
because she wants to talk about it, or
no,
because
she's
mad
so
at you?
sick of me mentioning Plato's cave allegory.
I completely believe that, Justin, because I know you. I know you will run anything into the ground.
We'll literally be watching a show, and I will mention, you know what this reminds me of? And she's like, I swear, if you say Plato's cave allegory, she knows the theory very, very well at this point. Google it. I'm not gonna get into it, but that's the way they could take it. But one more potential season 6 villain, and then we're gonna change gears a little bit. Steve brought this up on the website. Good old frequent commenter Steve brought up the rubies. Speaking of powerful gems who may not get the message, especially they're kind of stubborn and won't listen. Are the rubies gonna be our main villain for season 6?
I don't know if they're
especially
villain.
Eyeball.
I think they'll definitely show up, but I don't see them as being more than like one episode villain, really.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see them as being more than that. I could see them just, maybe max I'll give them 3 episodes. Max. But that's as far. I don't think they'll be that bad.
You don't think it's gonna be a whole season?
Yeah, I personally don't think they have enough depth to have an entire season dedicated to them. There are other things I'd rather explore than the rubies not being shocked. I don't know. I personally, I'm like, they're the type of gang where I'm okay with them for an episode or 2, but once it starts going more, I'm like, okay, we're done here. Like, I got it. We don't need more.
So, Andy, talk about the rubies real quick.
I think they're interesting characters, and I think Eyeball's one of those trapped with Steven in the bubble, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I really want to see Eyeball interact with Steven more, because I think that was the most interesting interaction we had with the rubies in general. But if we talk about the rubies without talking about just this militant idea, this idea that all the gems are really just power, not power hungry, but they want to enforce power because of this structure enforced upon them, I don't think it's as interesting. I really want to see I want to see it talked about through that lens. And that's really why I keep harping on, I like talking about Steven in terms of themes they want to cover, because I think that's when Steven Universe at its best. I want to talk about this idea of people enforcing power on each other at this point. So I think we can move on to that now. If we're done with Steven, let's try to get deeper into this hierarchy of the gems now. And I think that's prime material to dig into here.
So I have 2 more questions for you guys, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
So first one, this comes from Jack B. Nimble on YouTube, and this has kind of been pretty well established at this point. We didn't get into it in our recap because we literally did this like a minute after the episode finished, but everyone's talked about this online. The "What's your excuse" line being a reference to the pilot episode, Not the first episode of the show, the original pilot. I take it both of you have seen it?
I've seen it, but I don't remember, the specifics.
So basically, for anyone who didn't see that original pilot, which is where the, we'll win the fight and go out for pizza part of the theme song came from originally.
Yep.
Basically, it involves the, time thing, not the time turner because it's not Harry Potter.
Oh,
but,
right.
The one that we see in Too Many Stevens. It involves that. Basically, Steven needs to go back in time and come up with a good comeback to an insult. And he can't do it. And eventually, Garnet says, why are you such a buttface? And Steven says, I am a buttface, what's your excuse? And that turns out to be the good comeback, that he's able to break the cycle and fix everything. So, from the original pilot, all the way to now, I am a child, what's your excuse? That's
fun. It's
just a fun little nod. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know if there's more to say than that. That's really fun. I think it's really cool callback. I think it works better here as not a joke than as a joke. I like it here a lot. I like the way, cause it's not cause Steven says it here, I really like Zach's read of the line, cause it rides that line of being smug, but also confident and but also not being too aggressively pointing out that she's a child. It's just such a good line read from him.
I absolutely agree. Beatrice, what do you think of that kind of just that sense, that callback?
I mean, I agree with Andy in that it works as a callback, but I think the main point, for me, I read it as I don't know. I read a more serious kind of heaviness to it, where it's and more implications to our own society, where, you have adults who are maybe not great humans, and it's well, dude, if I can understand that homophobia is bad, if I can understand that racism is bad, if I can understand the systematic problems of society, what's your excuse? So, yeah, so I kind of prefer that reading, but I mean, the fact that it works on multiple levels, is really, really nice. And the fact that they can do that callback, but without having it lost the meaning, and also have it be a callback for people who grab it, but for people who, even if they don't get it, they still get a bigger thing.
I think what we're getting at, this is how you do fan service.
Yes.
This is fan service. And people who point at other things and call, I don't want to get too deep into it, but people who point at specific, same-sex relationships as fan service. That's not fan service. This is fan service. Digging in deep for your fan base to make a reference that only the enfranchised will get. And it's really, it pays off well.
Yeah. The show's done it a few times. The episode where they go to Korea and they run into the animation studio where they're making the episode. That's definitely fan service. It's also meta, but to me, the way I read this callback is that it's a celebration of look how far Steven has come. By doing the same setup, it's calling back what happened then versus now. Of look, here's the same kind of line, but look at the difference in it. Just look at the difference between that Steven and this Steven, and look at how far he has come and the man he has become, and just to me, it's look how much
remained.
Okay, yes, but no. Steven is more a man than plenty of full-grown adults I know.
Totally. I agree.
Being a man is about being a good human being. Power in yourself and, yes. Steven's such a good role model. I am on, such a high right now of, non-toxic masculinity between this and watching On the Basis of Sex the other night and seeing Ruth Bader Ginsburg's husband. Just non-toxic masculinity. We need yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The quote
Call
great
out,
Oprah Winfrey.
Shout out to Bo from She-Ra. Non-toxic masculinity. Woo.
I've not watched She-Ra.
You should.
I find it kind of funny that I'm talking about all this non-toxic masculinity stuff, and I'm going to do a Dragon Ball Z podcast tomorrow.
Hey, I mean, it's fine.
No. The funny thing, though, is, I don't think we're going to get a chance to talk about it on that podcast, but the funny thing is, kind of the villain of that movie was toxic masculinity, which is kind of funny, but that's neither here nor there.
That Dragon Ball, Toriyama, this is not the podcast for that.
Yeah.
I had one more question, and I think I lost it. No, it's absolutely fine.
I was kind of vamping for you, hoping you'd find the question.
I lost the question. We were talking about something. So we talked about the What's Your Excuse. We talked about that callback. So I guess all that's really left to say at this point is this was a really great episode. Like, this was a really, really, really good episode.
Would you say it's the best one, like, so far of all the Steven Universe episodes? Or does Single Pale Rose still take
It's so hard to compare for multiple reasons. One, the hype. The absolute hype machine of knowing this was going to be such a big deal. Single Pale Rose, I didn't know it was going to be a big deal. But, like, the hype that went into this and, like, the amount of resolutions. And then also the fact that this is 4 times the length of a Single Pale Rose.
Yeah.
Makes it so hard to compare. It's like comparing a short film to a feature-length film. Yes, the short film may be really, really great, but a well-made feature film is going to have more good material. Like, if it's this, to me, they're the same quality. This is just 4 times the length, so it has 4 times the good stuff in it. So it's so hard to compare. I would hold the last section of this episode up there with most episodes of Steven, as we're going to compare 11 minutes. From the moment that Steven gets his gem ripped out to the end of the episode, I would hold that up there with just about anything.
Yeah.
Because that is, first off, the animation. Second off, the emotion. Third, the music. Just all of it.
The music is so good. We haven't talked about it at all, and I haven't talked about it much, which is crazy because I love the music and all of this. Like, not the songs, like the background music. The score. The score is incredible.
The show taught me how to love a score, honestly.
What was that?
This show taught me how to love a score, genuinely.
There's some crazy good score work in here, especially with, like, the way they make sure to keep consistent with which characters have which instruments mainly, and which is really clear when they get to the Obsidian part. And then, like, they're just so good at ramping up emotion with the score. I just love this show for the music. It's so good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that kind of covers it. Was there anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
I wanted to just say, again, I touched on it really shortly, but I'm really hoping we do get into Lapis Peridot stuff. Mm-hmm. I am a strong Lapidot shipper, but that's not really why. Yeah, but that's not why.
Amidot.
All right, Justin.
That's another conversation.
If we're going to cut out the Peridot part, at the very least, I want to talk about Lapis and abusive relationships, and I want to see her grow. Because I think there still is room there, and Lapis always gets the short end of the stick, not just in show, but in terms of, like, she's always, like, put right up against, like, bigger moments. Like, she had a big moment in this finale, but she was just overshadowed by everything else.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how we deal with this new Jasper. Because I think, yes, Jasper was very different the last time we saw her. I want to see this Jasper, who's now at a place where she can really come to terms with everything. Not just... Because the last time we saw Jasper, she was also not in a mentally healthy place. Yes, she has done a lot of bad things, but she was also not in a good place. I think now she is in a good place where she can acknowledge what she has done and become a better person.
But is it... I think that's true, but I think it comes from, like, a bad place, though. You know what I mean? Because it comes from a place... Like, cause I think that the reason she felt that she could enforce this will on people is that she felt powerful. And now that she suddenly doesn't have the power, like, that's the only reason she's open to change. Which is good that she's open to change, but it's kind of says a lot about her character. That's the only time that she can accept change.
But that's who she is. She needs to... Well, what's the difference between that and Peridot?
I think
Peridot wasn't open until she lost her limb enhancers.
But Peridot's a little different.
What's the difference?
I need to rewatch.
Well, the difference is that Peridot didn't necessarily, like, I mean, it's not rape, but she didn't violate Lapis the way
they did. Bad things differently, but both of them needed to lose power to realize what they were doing was wrong.
Yes, but I'm just saying that I have not rewatched the Peridot episodes recently enough to have a full debate about the differences between their turns. So I will save that for a future, I think.
That will be a future. I think Jasper is redeemable at this point. A lot of people don't. And I'm willing to defend my position on it. It's a tough fight, but I think she's redeemable. Honestly, at this point, if we're willing to redeem White Diamond but not Jasper, we have a problem. Like,
I think the fact of the matter is the people that aren't going to be redeemable in this show are going to be people like Aquamarine from that one. Like, cause like there's some people that are just really, really into how the hierarchy is right now, and I think we're going to see them not.
Kevin redeemable?
And I don't have any answer for that.
Is lemon redeemable?
Lemon?
Lemon?
Right.
Do you mean onion?
Onion, that's what I meant.
Whoa!
Lemon?
Whoa.
Onions love interest, lemon?
I was about to say, like,
Lemon grab?
I genuinely thought it was, I don't know why.
I'm so glad we got far enough into the podcast that Beatrice said that.
This shows how
gonna regret
little
this
I
Google
care
search.
about that little vegetable.
Yes, I regret this Google search.
Were you mixing it up with lemon grab? Like, is that what you...
Oh, no. I found a picture of Lemon Grab dancing with Peridot, and it says lemon and lime.
Oh, no.
No. I think we're done, Justin.
Okay, on that note.
I can't even say anything else. I wanted to add something, like, actually of substance.
No, you're done. You've lost your privileges. No.
I wanted to actually add something of substance to the Jasper discussion, but fine. Shut me down.
Okay, no. What's your Jasper comment?
Well, I'm just saying that maybe with, everything that's happening in the world, with the Me Too movement, with all this stuff, I think there's a possibility here to do something with that kind of storyline that could resonate, or it could backfire. But it's there. The option is there for them.
Take responsibility. Just please.
It's huge. So it's kind of like, well, that's there for them if they want to take it. They don't have to, but yeah, it's I don't think there's a way to deal with Jasper that's going to make everybody happy.
There's not.
Is what I'm going to say.
Just look at White Diamond. Not everyone's happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. So like, say Jasper's the same kind of thing where I can't see everyone being happy with it, but by bringing her back, they're going to have to land somewhere. Yes. I don't know how, whether it's them not doing anything, even by not doing anything, by ignoring it, by virtue, that's already them taking a stand on something. So that's also worth pointing out.
Yes. So with that, you can find all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Our Steven Universe channel on there is very poppin'. It's quite the place to be. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Cast. Hugh, aka Hugh Neutron. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Hugh. Coming up, we've got Genlock coverage. We have all kinds of cool stuff. We've got Promised Neverland. We've got probably more Steven at some point. We've got all kinds of cool stuff going on. Dragon Prince comes back. What's up?
And the previously mentioned Dragon Ball podcast.
That's coming up. Is that on the new movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Super Brawly movie.
I thought it was just a review of all of Dragon Ball Z, and I was
we're gonna cover all of it, Justin. It's gonna be a 3-hour podcast.
No, it's gonna be 30 minutes just of the intro of the podcast, because if you're really gonna do it justice,
you just have to scream.
Yeah, you just have to screaming. And it'll be Alex and John reacting to how well I can scream.
Well, if you want to listen to that, check back tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.